since we first met about 3.5 years ago, and talked about doing something at some point together. And then meeting up with Tony Thompson, who in turn mentioned to Bernard about doing something.
The producer, Bernard Edwards.
And then really Get It On, the T-Rex song, was the original, the initial inspiration for it. And since we were just going to do, you know, a couple of cover versions, and then we actually had a go at writing original stuff. And we found we could, couldn't we?
We could. And it took 3 years to get round to it. And he calls me up on the phone at home. Incidentally, I was never allowed on this show before. I was too MOR.
I thought you were going to keep it tight.
He called me up and said, "Get here, we need you. It's happening." And he sent me a cassette of the track, and I booked my ticket. I was there. But, you know, everybody was doing this and doing that, and it took that long for the timing to come together. But when it actually started rolling, apart from the peg that was bang a gong that we hung everything on, we didn't know what we were going to do.
So what did you actually like about Robert's singing?
I don't know. You know, I've been a fan of his for a while, but I mean, we were just friends, and we just felt all the elements were absolutely right. We weren't dead certain how it was going to turn out, but we just felt it was, you know, all the parts were.
I think really you had a better idea, because it was something you'd assembled, like envisaged for a long time. But once we got rolling and the tunes started appearing, we were so much at the mercy of what was coming out the speakers, and we just kept going until the producer said stop, because it got to the point where we realised that we were doing something afterwards. And it was at that point that we sent in a bill for an album cover that we'd made, and they said, "What album?"
The extent of the project is obviously one album, but if it proves successful, will you continue?
Definitely not, but as a possible power station corporation or something.
Yeah,
it would be a nice base, a platform for other people.
Once you've worked together and it works, there's no reason not to do it more.
But, you know, in terms of, you know, touring and, you know, follow-up albums and all that, it would be, it defeat the purpose, really, because the reason why we did it was, certainly for me, was just to get out of the circus for a bit.
There must surely be aspects of your life with Duran Duran that aren't very fulfilling.
I think it's more like a change is as good as a rest.
Yeah, really, yeah. I mean, I think, you know, Nick and Simon are involved in something as well, and I think it can only be really positive and add strength, really, because, I mean, I started Duran, 6 years ago now. Just, people don't realise, I don't think. And 6 years is a long time just to play with the same 4 guys and go on stage with the same 4 people, and you know, it was nice to see other people's approach to doing things. And
how did the other 3 members react to this?
I don't really know. I don't think they really thought about it. It's
no,
just, I mean, the reason
come into it. We've been too busy making music and following it through to be thinking about attitudes.
I didn't really have anybody to get married to last year, so I had to find something else to do.
Is saying that Power Station is what you wanted or thought Duran Duran could be at the outset.
Oh, yeah, that got a little bit out of hand, actually, that comment. Everybody's using that now. It wasn't so much that... It wasn't that the Power Station sounds like what I originally wanted Duran. What it was that I felt with Duran we lost a little bit of the soul, and we became, you know, I think we went more towards the synthesizers. And me and Andy sort of made a pact at the end of the last studio album that we were going to use more guitars, because the original idea was that because we were coming from the punk thing originally, you know, it was like the Clash meets Donna Summer, you know. This is like a glorified bar band, really, you know, which is fun, which is, you know, it's kind of nice just to not taking for me as a bass player, not having to take a cue off a click track or something, you know, which is getting a bit of a pain. But that's you know, the curtain with Duran Duran, the kids are looking at the curtain opens, and then we're there, and the show happens, and it rolls, and then the curtains close, and poof, we disappear in a cloud of smoke. And this is meant to be a little bit more natural. We just stroll on stage and chat with the audience, and, you know, like, break down, and, you know, this isn't meant to be such a prima donna star band as Duran.
Do you ever feel limited in your role in Duran Duran?
Well, I certainly can't say I'm confined now. I mean, I've got 2 vehicles, really. The only way I've ever felt that way is as a bass player, which I've always felt a little frustrated playing the bass. I'm a fairly kind of emotional person, and I've always found it very frustrating if I play C, D, E, F, and it's C, D, E, F on a bass, and if you play a 20 grand Fairlight, it's like the Raiders of the Lost Ark, you know. I've always found that, you know, it's a rhythmic instrument. It's kind of impossible. I like music as a medium to make you laugh or cry, or, you know, with the bass, as I say, a rhythm thing, it can make you dance, but it can't really pull on your heartstrings like a you know, an orchestra can or something. And I think that's the only way I've ever felt frustrated, was just within the one instrument that I play. But I mean, I aim to do something about that in the future, maybe.
John's not telling us what instrument he plays on, because certainly you've got to be pretty much on all the time that you're on tour.
I get bored, really. I mean, I have to find strange ways of turning off, you know. I watch movies incessantly. I listen to very little music. I watch TV on TV Crazy. Movies and...
James Bond movies a favorite of yours?
Yeah, well, I do like those, yeah.
It's got to be a pretty exciting thing to see your name up there on a movie in the credits. But have you thought about getting into movies in a bigger way, perhaps acting?
Yeah, I mean, it's something, it's terribly, it sounds so cliche to talk about it, doesn't it? It's so, I don't know, I mean, every young actor I meet, you know, wants to be in a group. Everybody in the group wants to be an actor. The grass is always greener. I don't know, I do think that, you know, with music video, is going that way. And it seems this Hollywood obsession with, you know, a hit song will make a hit movie at the moment, which really is a big obsession. I think it's got to come together very, very closely. And I mean, with something like Purple Rain happening, it would certainly interest me.
After living this pop star life for, what, some 4.5, 5 years now, how do you like it?
Oh, I like it. I'd recommend it. It's, you know, it's good job prospects, a little insecure. I don't find it any problem with it. I mean, it's actually been 6 years now. It seems like it. It's getting on for 6 years. I've never done anything else, so I never had to make any swift transition. So I guess I've always been spoiled.
Do you ever feel confined by the fact that, you know, you can't walk down the street? It's very hard to find time by yourself?
Yeah, but then again, at the same time, you know, I don't think you get in this business if you don't, you know, you don't become a pop star if you don't like being looked at.